When my girlfriend told me she was cheating on me with her married boss, I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just walked out and started helping his wife ruin both of them. A few months ago, I found out that Claire, the woman I had been living with and planning to propose to, was having an affair with her boss. She did not deny it. She admitted it with the kind of casual pride that made my skin crawl. She said she felt powerful being wanted by someone who made twice as much money and had influence. She said I was stable, safe, and good at laundry, but not exactly exciting. That was the moment something inside me shut off. I did not cry, I did not argue. I just nodded slowly, picked up my keys, and walked out of the apartment we had lived in for 3 years. The one I paid most of the rent for. The one I fixed up myself after she said it felt too cold and modern. The one where I thought we would build a life together. I stayed at a friend's place that night. Just crashed on the couch without explaining anything. I think he could tell I was not ready to talk. The next morning, I went to the office like nothing had happened. I work in marketing at a mid-sized software company. Nothing glamorous, just clean work, steady paycheck, good people. Claire works in PR at a larger firm downtown. Her boss, the one she was sleeping with, is married with 2 kids. I did not know him personally. I had heard his name in passing when she talked about work. Never thought twice. The day after I left, I started getting texts from our mutual friends. Sarah asked if I was okay. Mark just sent, "Boo!" Like that was an acceptable message after 3 years of friendship. Then I saw the post. Claire had gone online and written some vague but loud message about finally choosing herself, about escaping emotional control, about being done with codependency. She did not name me, but anyone who knew us could connect the dots. The likes rolled in. Comments from people we had hosted for dinner saying they were proud of her, that they always knew she deserved more, that they had seen the signs. I sat there reading it, holding my phone like it was made of ice. I wanted to respond, to defend myself, but I knew better. So I deleted all my social apps and went silent. I stopped answering messages. I stopped explaining. I started remembering how many times I had picked her up from the office because she was too anxious to drive. How many times I cooked when she said she was too tired to stand. How many nights I listened to her vent about meetings, clients, pressure, and always said the same thing. You are doing better than you think. I thought love was supposed to be about showing up. I did not realize for some people, it is about how useful you are until something shinier comes along. Over the next few days, I packed my things. I let her keep the apartment. I did not fight for the furniture, I just left. Quietly, she did not call. Not once. The girl I had built my world around vanished into a new life without hesitation. I went back to my routine. I worked. I read. I started jogging again. I cleaned the kitchen in my new place until the counters gleamed. But something kept itching at the back of my mind. Not the betrayal. The confidence. The way she spoke like she had planned it all, like I was just a phase, a placeholder, a stepping stone. And then I got an email. Not from her. From a woman named Emily. The subject line said, "You don't know me, but I think we've been hurt by the same man." I almost deleted it. Thought it was spam. But something in me said to read it. So I did. And that is when the story stopped being about heartbreak and started being about justice. Emily's email was short, polite, clear. She said she was Henry's wife, that she knew about Claire, that I was not the first. She asked if I had 20 minutes to talk. She said she had no intention of dragging me into anything, but thought I deserved the whole picture. I stared at it for a long time before replying. I just wrote, "I have time tonight after 6. She responded 5 minutes later. Sent a Zoom link. No small talk, no emojis, just precision. At 6:02, I clicked join. Emily looked exactly like someone Henry would cheat on, which is to say she was calm, intelligent, and fully in control of her expression. She did not cry. She did not ask how I was. She just said, "I am sorry this happened to you. I wish I could say I was surprised." Then she showed me a folder. Screenshots, call logs, photos, receipts. She had been documenting everything for months. Claire was the 5th woman. Maybe the 6th. Most of them worked at the firm. Some left quietly. One had tried to file a complaint. It disappeared. The HR head was Henry's college roommate. Emily said she did not want revenge. She wanted accountability. She had kids, a mortgage, a name she had built alongside his for 20 years. She did not want to burn it all down unless she had partners who were willing to speak. I told her I was not sure I could help, that Claire had already framed the narrative, that most of our circle had sided with her. She nodded like she had expected that, and she said, "They always do, until the story changes." Over the next 2 weeks, we stayed in touch. She sent me more details. Voice messages, screenshots from Claire's private account. The one she used to brag to her friends about expensive dinners with Henry and business-class flights disguised as conferences. I started keeping a log. Times, dates, cross-reference locations with calendar invites Claire used to share with me back when she still wanted me to know where she was. The overlaps were perfect. She had started sleeping with him before we even signed the lease on the apartment. That part broke me a little. Not because of the timeline. Because I remembered how excited she was to move in. How she asked me to repaint the bedroom twice because the lighting felt off. How she said she finally felt like she had a home. It was all theater. Meanwhile, Emily found 2 more people willing to talk. One of them was a former intern who had quit mid-semester and disappeared from LinkedIn. The other was someone still at the firm. Scared, anxious, but ready. I did not know these women. But when I read their statements, the tone was familiar. Like I could hear Claire's voice in their mouths. Same charm. Same manipulation. Same story. I was not special. I was just a quiet place to hide. Until she needed the drama again. Around the same time, Sarah messaged me. Said she missed hanging out. That I had gone dark and it felt weird. That Claire had moved on and I should too. I just wrote, noted. She replied with a thumbs up. 2 days later, I saw her in a tagged photo at Henry's house. Backyard drinks. Laughter. Claire leaning into his shoulder like they had known each other for decades. I saved the photo. Sent it to Emily. She said thank you. That it filled in a gap in a timeline. That it proved he had violated internal policy again. Then she asked if I would be willing to meet someone. A woman named Jessica. Senior manager in marketing at the firm. Emily said Jessica had been watching everything for a while, but needed someone from the outside to verify the pattern. I agreed. We met at a cafe 3 blocks from my office. She looked nervous, wore sunglasses inside, sat with her back to the wall. I asked if she was okay. She said, depends how this goes. Then she handed me a flash drive. Said it contained screen recordings from company chat logs. Messages between Henry and multiple women. Including Claire. All of them saved off system by accident. A cache no one deleted before she pulled it. I offered to pay for her lunch. She said, I'll feel safer when he is gone. Then left. That night, I plugged in the drive. Watched the messages load. They were worse than I thought. Not just personal. Professional. Offers. Promises. Thinly veiled threats. One conversation ended with Claire saying, he's useful for now, but I'm working on an exit. Time-stamped 4 days before I found out. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. I was not angry. Just exhausted be a loop. That is when I realized I did not want revenge. I wanted the truth. Out loud. In public. And if that meant stepping into fire to drag it into the light, then fine. I had already burned once. What was one more time? I spent the next week building a file. I used a private drive. Labeled everything by name, date, channel, email, text, chat log, calendar event, receipt, social post. I added commentary only where necessary. Just enough to connect the dots. I called it pattern of behavior. Emily did the same. She worked through nights while the kids were asleep, sometimes sending me clips at 2 a.m. followed by a single word like disgusting or predictable. I did not ask how she was holding up. I could hear it in her voice. Same calm, same weight. It was not just about betrayal anymore. It was about truth, structure, balance. About making something real out of the mess we had both been dragged through. We set a date. Not for revenge, for exposure. Henry's company had an annual partner retreat coming up. Not a vacation. A showcase. Investors, executives, media sponsors. Everyone who mattered under one roof with cocktails and keynote speeches. Claire had bragged about it last year. Said it was the one weekend you pretend to be better than you are and people believe you. She loved pretending. Emily got us in through a friend who owed her a favor. Fake company passes. Nothing illegal, just quiet, tactical. The plan was not dramatic. No microphones, no yelling. Just a quiet release of truth. We timed it to hit halfway through the opening keynote. While Henry was on stage talking about leadership culture and ethical scaling, inboxes across the building would receive the file. Internal emails, investor lists, anonymous drops. Pattern of behavior. No names signed, no accusations written out. Just documented, structured, source material with hard timestamps and no editorial voice. Let the truth speak. The day before the event, Claire messaged me. First time in weeks. She said, I heard you've been talking to Henry's wife. I would be careful. That woman's unhinged. I did not reply. She followed with, I get it. You're angry. But this is not going to go the way you think. I muted the thread. 5 minutes later, I got a message from Mark. He said he was sorry he took sides. That he had started hearing things. That maybe I was not the bad guy. I replied with a link. No explanation. He clicked. Saw the folder. Said holy shit. That was all. Then silence. That night Emily called me. No Zoom. Just a voice. Said, do you want to hit send or should I? I said, you do it. You earned it more than I did. She said, I would not have made it through this without you. I did not answer. Not because I was cold, because I was choking on all the words I would never need to say out loud. Next morning I wore a gray button-down. No tie. Name badge clipped at the hip. Emily wore a black suit. Hair up. No jewelry. We did not walk in together. She arrived 10 minutes after me. Walked right past Henry in the hallway. He did not recognize her. Of course not. Men like him never recognize what they ruin until it stands in front of them, sharp and silent. I sat in the back row. Center aisle. Took out my phone. Watched the timer. Claire was on the side of the stage with a glass of wine and a fake laugh. She looked proud. Like she had won something. Henry stepped onto the stage. Microphone clipped. Slide deck behind him. Integrity and vision in emerging markets. I tapped the screen. Emily did the same. Sync. 1 second. Dozens of inboxes pinged. Phones vibrated. Laptops chimed. Heads turned. First rows read first. Then the second. Then the ripple. You could feel it move across the room like wind. Like pressure dropping. Henry noticed it first. Mid-sentence. Looked down at the monitor. Blinked. Kept talking. But something cracked. Claire's smile faltered. She leaned toward the woman beside her. The woman leaned away. I saw 2 men in suits step into the back of the room. Then a third. Legal. HR1 holding a printout. I stood up. Walked out. Did not need to see the rest. Emily met me by the elevators. Her eyes were glassy. I said, are you okay? She said, I will be. We left. Did not say goodbye. Did not celebrate. Just walked into the sun, like people who had finished something terrible. Like soldiers after a war they did not choose. That night, my inbox exploded. Messages from Sarah. From Mark. From coworkers. From people I barely knew. Some apologizing, some shocked. Some just sending emojis like they did not have the language. Claire did not message. But I saw her deactivate every account by morning. Henry's name disappeared from the company website 48 hours later. The official statement said he was stepping down to focus on family. The irony was almost funny. Emily sent me a screenshot with a smiley face. Then, nothing else. We had done what we came to do. And neither of us needed to explain what came next. 2 weeks passed. The noise died down. Claire never reached out again. I kept waiting for it, even if I told myself I did not want her to. I thought maybe she would try to explain, or blame me, or pretend it was all a misunderstanding. But no silence. Which told me everything I needed to know. Sarah eventually sent me a long message. Said she felt horrible. Said she had believed Claire because Claire always spoke first. Said she did not realize how much damage that silence had done. I thanked her for the message. But I did not say it was okay. Because it was not. Because when people show you who they are when the stakes are low, you better believe them when the pressure hits. Mark sent me a link to a private apology video. I did not open it, just replied, we are good, just not close. That was the truth. I was done carrying people who only remembered me when something broke. Emily and I kept in touch for a while. Not constantly. Not romantically. Just real. Occasionally she would send me an article about corporate ethics or an inside joke about press statements. I would reply with a photo of my dog or a line from the file that had aged like wine. Once she sent a message that just said, it was never really about them. It was about us choosing not to let them win. I think about that a lot. Because it is easy to believe that closure comes with apology. With someone else's recognition. But it doesn't. Closure is not a gift. It is a decision. A line you draw and never step back across. I moved into a new place. Smaller, cleaner, better light. I replaced my furniture piece by piece. I stopped eating dinner with the television on. I stopped explaining my silence to people who never asked why I was quiet in the first place. I found new rhythms. On Saturdays I cook something slow. On Sundays I leave my phone in a drawer. I started going to therapy. Not because I was broken. Because I wanted to make sure I never lost sight of myself again in someone else's shadow. The office changed too. I was promoted a month later. New title. Better hours. One of the board members had been at the event. He never said anything directly, just smiled and asked if I would be willing to lead a mentorship track. Said the company could use more voices like mine. I said yes. Not because I wanted recognition, Because if someone else ever ended up in a position like mine, I wanted them to know what it looks like to stay calm and stay smart when the ground falls out from under you. One evening I ran into Jessica again, the one who gave me the flash drive. She looked better. Lighter. She thanked me. I told her I just passed along what she already knew. She said, yeah, but no one ever does that, they just watch. That stuck with me. I used to think walking away quietly was strength. Now I know sometimes speaking up is the only way to protect what you believe in. Even if your voice shakes. Even if no one claps. A few days ago, I got a letter in the mail. No name. No return address. Just a folded piece of paper with one sentence. You made me look in the mirror. I hate you for it. But I needed it. I did not have to ask who it was from. The handwriting was familiar. Claire had always printed her letters in perfect straight lines. Like she was afraid of curves. I burned it. Not out of spite. Out of finality. I do not need haunted reminders. I do not need open doors to places I already walked through and survived. I do not hate her. Not anymore. But I will never let her back in. Because what we had was not love. It was need wrapped in performance. And I do not audition for affection anymore. I show up whole. Or I do not show up at all. Some people think the best revenge is success. But it is not. It is stillness. It is waking up in the morning and realizing you do not think about them anymore. That their voice does not echo. That their absence is not a wound, just space you get to fill with something better. And I have filled mine with peace.